Hey gang, welcome to this short tutorial on how to complete the discussion board threads for the class. Alright, so let's get started. We're on the home page right here, and all you got to do when you're on this home page is go to, say, week 1. You're going to go to week 1. Alright, we're going to go down here, week 1, and we're going to scroll down all the way down to week 1 reflective discussion group A, and then there's a group B. Now that's based on the first letter of your last name. So my last name is Mills, starts with an M. So that means it's A through M. That's included in this first week, this first group A. So I would go there. I'm going to click on that link, that top thing. That's the link. And then this is the link. I know these sort of look like titles, but they are also the links as well. This little note here, you can kind of skip that and go on to this information because it's the most pertinent information. It says click on the link above. Yes, this link, right? And it says the assignment directions right here appear when you click on create thread. Well, you don't really know what that means because we're not there yet, so we don't know what create thread, where does it say that? So we actually have to click on this. Click. Oh, there's this thing. It says create thread because you're wondering where was the question? Where is the question, right? That we're supposed to answer. You click on create thread, and when you do that, now we've got what? We've got the actual question. Okay, so here's what it is. It's divided into two parts, part 1, topic 1, and part 2. So pretty simple. Part 1 is basically about reading this information. I'll summarize. Basically what it says is, hey, watch this video. And then it says, read this article right here. And then it says, read chapter 1. And after doing that, here's kind of the important thing. This is if you can kind of tease out what they're really asking you to do. And it says, discuss some fear-reducing strategies that you would like to incorporate from the above mentioned sources. Remember to cite the source and personalize your response. All right, so that's basically what they're asking you to do. Okay, so you are going to then type your response in this box right here. Now, I would suggest you maybe do it like in a Word document. So I've already done this. I've answered the question. I did it in a Word document, and then I'm going to go copy it and paste it. Now, what did I include? How did I write this? Now, there's a rubric under course resources in the classroom. If you know where that is, it's over here. It says here, right here, course resources, right? You can click on that, and it gives you some rubrics, basically. Here's a rubric, right? Basically instructions or some explanation. And so there's this rubric here on the discussion rubric, basically the discussion boards. And it's great. So what I've done is basically kind of distilled it a little bit for you and giving you some more some specifics that you can kind of like really latch onto through this Excel spreadsheet rubric that I use to grade you with. So it's pretty simple. What you do is this. You basically have to respond to that question. Basically, what was it this week? It's talking about what are some strategies to overcome stage fright, right? So you got to answer it in at least 250 words. By the way, we've got this agree, neutral, strongly agree. This is actually a perfect score, the 10, the agree column. So if you were to take all this and if you got a 10 on every column, that adds up to 100. That's a perfect score, all right? A 12 is like a couple points of extra credit if you really did a standout job, but I use that very sparingly. It's not often that you're going to get 12s on things, so just be aware, all right? But if you do something really excellent, I can try to reward you with a couple extra points. All right, so a 10. Basically, was your response at least 250 words? Was it? If it was, 10 points. Okay, great. Next, the student provided insight and an understanding of the material through personal examples. Did you do that? Did you give personal examples, a personal story, and how you relate to stage fright? Yeah, there you go, 10 if you did that, or anywhere down the line, all right? Did you cite the textbook? Did you use textbook vocabulary? Did you cite maybe some pages from the textbook? Basically, are you working in the concepts from the book and showing me you can kind of integrate them into your 250 word response? If so, 10. Student used Socratic method, asking insightful questions, prompting classmates to respond. What the heck does that mean? Basically, it means, are you asking questions at the end of the post? So what I want you to do is at the very end of your post, ask kind of a question that gets the audience, meaning your classmates, to think about the topic in a little bit more detail or to expand their mind on something. You can expand on something from the textbook or from an article or maybe just your own idea. Ask your classmates a question. This student did it in a sort of vague way, not so well. He asked a closed-ended question, like maybe he might have asked something like, "What do you think? Is it good to practice before a speech?" Well, of course, the answer is yes. It's kind of a closed-ended question, right? So ask more open-ended questions, such as, "It's good to practice before a speech. What specifically do you try to practice?" More on the writing of the speech or more on the delivery of the speech, right? So it's something that, leaves for students to be able to answer in an open-ended way, right? And give a longer answer. Okay, good. So that's at least 250 words. Now the response to your classmates right here, these need to be at least 100 words each, and you just need to post 2 posts, okay? So the student responded to at least 2 posts by other students in the other in the threads with at least 100 words each, not the other threads in the same group, right? A through M, for example, for me. So, because I'm in A through M, right? Responses to other posts summarize classmates' answers and agreed or disagreed in a respectful way. Great. And the student used Socratic method, prompting further discussion. Again, did you end the post with a question that furthers the discussion? And did you include textbook vocabulary or outside sources, in this case, or outside sources? I'm giving you a little bit more leeway on the responses to classmates. And so if you did that, 10, or if you didn't so much, 8, 6, or even a 4. All right, or a 12 if you really do great. Other stuff, sort of grammar and professionalism. Student writes in a professional manner, 10, meets college level writing, grammar, punctuation, 10, etc. And it adds up to whatever it adds up to. All right, here I give you some feedback and so on. So that's the rubric. That's the distilled sort of example of the rubric, and one that's kind of easy for you to kind of figure out what you need to do specifically for those people that are like, I need to know specifically what I need to do. Okay, great. I'm like that. So what you do is, so what I've done is I've already written a response here to a fictional classmate. So you just scroll down. I said, okay, so Jennifer wrote something. And like, so for example, the way that works is, I'm seeing, James right here. I'm going to click on James's post. Imagine that's Jennifer, okay? And let's say I read Jennifer's post or James's post, okay? Because I already wrote an answer here. And again, I just wrote this, but so let's just say Jennifer wrote, her whole post, and I teased something. This is a kind of a good technique I like to use. I copied just like a sentence or two. In this case, one sentence of something that she said. I copied and pasted, and because I want to respond to that. And so she says that, our book talks about visualizing, but that's never worked for me. And I say, hey, Jennifer, I completely understand what you mean. And so I answer her back. I'm basically saying I kind of agree with you. The book doesn't really give specifics on how to visualize well, in a way that's beyond the kind of generalizations. And then I go into an article. I say, hey, by the way, what works for me is exercising before a speech or doing some kind of light exercise. And according to this article, which I found online, they agree. 5 ways to steel your nerves before a speech. And they talk about how exercise is one of the best ways to relax before a speech. And then I kind of go a little bit into, I give a little bit more explanation. And then I end with a question. Have you ever tried exercise before a speech? How can you do some light exercise before a speech? Find a place to go in the back, do some jumping jacks, then go to the bathroom, clean up for a bit, and you're ready to shine. What do you think? Like basically giving her a chance to kind of expand on that, or anybody else is welcome to also answer that. So I basically take this, I copy this, right? Copy this whole thing, copy it, click reply, go down here, paste it, and then click submit. All right, so that's how you basically complete the discussion threads for our class. Now, when it comes to week 2 and week 3, the discussion posts or threads are a little bit different. You don't have a kind of like a you do have a prompt, but it's not about like reading or watching a video or stuff like that, or reading an article necessarily. So let's just go to week 2 reflective discussion, and I click on that, group B this time. That's fine. I'm gonna click on that, week 2, and you'll see I'm gonna create thread, right? Create thread, and there it is. Okay, there's the question. All right, now this one's a little bit different. So what we got to do in this one, it's also in 2 parts, and it's actually it's a moment to reflect on your week 1 performance of your speech. So the performance of your first speech. So it says this is time for reflective moment of your speech in week 1. Please to review. This is time for a reflective moment and to review your first introductory speech submitted during the first week. Overall, submitted in week 1. Please evaluate your overall performance and talk about okay, so you can read that on your own. But basically, you're going to review your first speech from week 1 in week 2's discussion. Does that make sense? All right. Then part 2 is about watching one of your classmates' responses. So it says review some of your, not responses, but their speeches from week 1. Review some of your fellow classmates' week introductory speeches within your assigned group. Here you can check out their YouTube video, right? So watch their videos, watch their YouTube links, and then find at least 2 students that nobody has commented. And if somebody's commented on theirs already, then that's fine. You can double up. I don't care. And comment on what was working for you in their speech. Like, what did they do well, and what is something they can improve upon? So part 1, review your own speech from week 1. Part 2, review 2 other students' speeches. Now, when you review your classmates' speeches, here are some suggestions and some requirements, okay? Don't just review them based on your just own knowledge like somebody off the street would watching a speech. You need to answer their speeches or give them feedback based on stuff you've read in the book. So I would like for you to cite from the textbook, use textbook vocabulary, give a personal example maybe of something that they struggled with and how you, for example, struggled with something like that, or how maybe you excel at something like, and how you can give them feedback. Also end each one of these posts with a question at the end to further the conversation. So the same stuff you did in week 1 in terms of the format of answering the discussion threads is the same way you should basically complete these, even though these are reviews of your own and two other students' speeches. So hopefully that makes sense, okay? And so that's how you're doing the reviews of yourself and of your classmates. So in week 2, you are reviewing the speeches from week 1. Same thing in week 3. If you go to week 3, let's click on that. We scroll down and we're going to go there. Week 3, reflective discussion, group A. Let's click on that. Create thread. There, the information pops up. It says it's time to reflect on your speech from week 2, right? And review classmates from week 2. So it's the same thing. So we are reviewing the speeches from the previous week in the next week, if that makes sense. All right. So that's how you do the discussion boards, and that's how they work. And hopefully this has been a good explanation that's clarified any questions or any confusion. I thought a video might be a great way to accomplish this. All right, everybody. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.